Welcome back to my channel. I have a question for you. Whose shoulders do you stand on? I stand on many, many shoulders. I am someone who has been truly blessed by having some very strong, generous shoulders to stand on. Many times when I'm asked, how can I start a mindfulness program, or how can I get myself a little bit more focused on what's actually happening day in and day out without the day being a total blur, I suggest that people actually start a gratitude program as opposed to a mindfulness program. And the reason for that is because in order to be grateful for something, you have to be fully aware that there's actually something to be grateful for. And in doing so, you're actually mindful. So that you might get up in the morning and you're gonna have a great cup of coffee and it just tastes extra special. And you're just feeling just very grateful in that moment. You're going to find a parking spot. You get to work and you're working with your best buds at work, or you just found out that something got accepted or green lighted. And in that moment, you feel the joy, the contentment, the satisfaction, everything that goes in, all those emotions that are appropriate to that event, and you feel grateful. And in that moment of gratitude, you're actually being fully present and therefore fully mindful. It's a wonderful way to be able to start a mindfulness program. But I'd like to add another dimension to that, a dimension of community and a dimension of synergy. So we are often grateful for the things that show up that kind of make our day a little bit easier or help us meet a need. And I put to you, who are those people in your life that we really have to be so very, very grateful for? Whose shoulders do you stand on? There are people who have made sacrifices. There are people who have been extraordinarily courageous. There are people who have did everything they could to make sure that you were a success. And it is extremely important that at some point in our day or in our lives that we take a moment and we acknowledge those people. So whose shoulders do I stand on? Well, I am very, very blessed to have a maternal grandmother, a paternal grandmother, and a mother who were just totally dedicated to family. My grandmothers were immigrants. And in fact, my paternal grandmother was an illegal alien. She came in, we used to call that under the blanket in Irish terms. She just left Ireland and she came here for a better life, as did my maternal grandmother. And with the help of her father, they started a business, and and the rest is history, as they say. The family started to thrive. My mother went to a commercial high school and became a banker. And although she didn't practice banking for long, she is responsible for the financial success of our family. My father was incredibly gifted at making money, but he couldn't hold on to 2 nickels for very long. My mother is the reason why our family was able to have a savings and a home and a future, and while my sister and I were able to go to college. And it was my mother's sacrifice, her tenacity, and her banking capabilities that allowed us to do that, let alone her love. Those were the more practical things. I am blessed with a brother who stood by me when I needed him most and never backed away. I am blessed with an incredible sister, a true life partner who some of the most challenging times in our lives, when we had to make sure we got our parents to a peaceful death, happened. We never let each other down, and it was just incredible to be able to have those moments, as well as countless others, to be able to share and to deepen our relationship with. But watching her navigate the passing of my parents with absolutely no medical training showed me courage that I've seen in very few people. And she's just really always has been one of my greatest teachers. I am also blessed with a tremendous amount of people who in my life have been extremely patient with me, and I am someone who you need to be very patient with. I had a high school teacher who knew I was phoning it in because I was struggling with dyslexia, and she she just would not let me get away with it. She was going to find a way to make sure that I was going to learn and that I was going to help me get into college, and that I was not going to let other people tell me what I could do or what I couldn't do. I am blessed with college professors that never let up on me either, even though I struggled with a learning challenge, that always said to me, you have an incredible mind, we just have to figure out how you learn best, and never let me lose faith in myself. I had a very patient head nurse. My first head nurse was extraordinarily patient and generous, and although I wanted to conquer the world right out of school, she told me, okay, now that you've got all the technical pieces down, let's not forget there's a patient in that bed, Phyllis, And she put the humanity back in my nursing practice. And I've had many, many, many great bosses who have been extremely patient, extremely understanding, challenging, and visionary, and trusting. I owe them everything. So if I haven't been grateful for all of the people whose shoulders I stand on, recently I sent to the universe my sincerest forms of thanks. And I would love for you to take that journey down your life, down that memory lane, if you will. And, instead of maybe doing a meditation practice, just really start to lean into whose shoulders you're standing on. Who had your back when you needed it most? Who was a great life teacher when you needed it most? Who was so generous with their knowledge and their energy and their heart that they gave you something that you needed at a very important time? And this is the point I'm trying to make about not only remembering the good stuff that happens that we should be grateful for, but the many, many people in our lives that we should be grateful for. Because life is meant to be an experience of community and an experience of understanding that we all affect each other, sometimes in large ways and sometimes in very, very subtle ways. And sometimes we affect people and we don't even know it. So there is a synergistic energy to the life that we all live, and a sense of community, knowing that you're not alone and that you are indeed part of a greater whole. It's a wonderful thing to be grateful for.